Hey there and welcome back to XCOM 2. My name is Pete and today we complete another episode of our Legend Ironman walkthrough of XCOM 2 War of the Chosen. Last time we left off, after a tough Haven Assault retaliation mission, we once again had to defeat not only the Chosen Hunter but also a grand total of 4 berserkers, and somehow all of our soldiers made it out of there unscathed. Now today we start things off with another mission right away, as our small covert operations squad was just ambushed on their way to locating the Chosen Assassin's stronghold. So now we need to get Starfall, Schwaminian and Sapphire West out of here safely, so let's start covering some ground with our sharpshooter, who thankfully does not detect any enemies just yet. By the way, we do have the Lost active on this mission as well, so we will very likely run into a few swarms, but that does not necessarily make things more difficult. As a matter of fact, it might actually make things easier if those swarms meet Advent forces.
Grade 1, your team is compromised. We're picking up Advent response forces inbound on your position.
And speaking of Advent forces, at the end of our first turn we are now informed about enemy reinforcements coming in. The location actually looked to be out of bounds outside of the playable area, so I'm not entirely sure where they will drop, most likely somewhere in front of us though.
I've got eyes on Advent troops.
On her way to establish a good overwatch position then, Sapphire West already detects a lone Advent trooper. The 4 hit points here should be doable with 3 soldiers, but let's make sure not to waste any actions. So we'll start things off with lightning hands, potentially allowing us to still go on overwatch afterwards. Alright, and it looks like we're off to a great start here with the lightning hands kill. That means Schwaminian and Starfall can now take up positions in the next room, while Sapphire West goes on pistol overwatch, and we wait for the enemy reinforcements to drop in, wherever that may be. Okay, definitely looks a bit glitchy here as 2 troopers and an officer arrive. Let's see where exactly they eventually end up.
We've got Advent here.
Alright, so here they are, as expected in a slightly more sensible position, and as always they do not get to act on their first turn, giving us the upper hand. Unfortunately though, they do have fairly good positions and I would like to stay on the high ground for a little while longer, so let's start things off with a 94%er from our sharpshooter Alyssa West. Right, so she misses that, another certified XCOM moment here. But let's keep going here, put Schwaminian behind full cover and see if he can't make up for Sapphire's miss. Right, 6 points of damage with the magnetic assault rifle, the first time he's carrying that I believe. Either way, that's enough for our ranger to retreat back behind full cover and drop a grenade, so that we're getting rid of at least 1 enemy this turn.
Take this.
And of course, this also speeds up the arrival of our first Lost Swarm, but let's worry about that once they arrive. For now, the officer marks Schwaminian, which is thankfully still not enough to actually land the shot afterwards. However, the trooper does get a chance too.
There's heavy fire in this zone.
Okay, so it looks like high ground and full cover did only get us so far. Thankfully, Schwaminian does have 8 hit points, but still I can't help but feel like this could have been avoided. Either way, Miss West, partially responsible for the fact that we are in this situation to begin with, now has a 74% against the officer. Let's see if she can make that shot count. Right, and she hits for max damage, which actually already ensures the kill here. After all, Ranger Starfall's shotgun deals 1 point of damage even if he misses, so all we need to do here is make sure that he gets the shot off. And he even hits it, which then thankfully also removes the target mark on Schwaminian, so if the trooper now wants to hit him, they still have the full benefits of height advantage and full cover working against them. Still, it is probably best not to take any chances, so let's put 4 hit points back on with the Gremlin heal, and then we can activate Overwatch and see what happens.
Come get some.
Taking heavy fire!
So this time our sharpshooter comes under fire, but thankfully avoids taking damage. The trooper has also inexplicably set himself on fire, and a small swarm of Lost has appeared as well. All in all, I feel like that's a manageable situation, so let's start things out by thinning out the Lost. Alyssa has 2 high percentage shots against low health enemies. Her first shot actually also reveals a 5th Lost hiding in the shadows, but unfortunately we don't appear to have a clear line of sight.
X-ray neutralized.
With her sniper rifle then, Miss West can take aim at the trooper, once again with a 74% chance to hit. Alright, I would say that more than makes up for her early miss, as this is actually the kill. With the trooper set on fire, they will take at least 1 point of damage at the beginning of their next turn. In other words, we no longer have to worry about them. So instead, let us now continue by blocking the ladder here, even though Schwaminian takes a somewhat convoluted path to get there. This ensures the Lost can't get up to us, and even gives our specialist a good shot at one of them too. The other 2 Lost meanwhile remain out of range, so Ranger Starfall simply goes on Overwatch, as does Schwaminian himself to end our turn. And there we go, the burning damage immediately takes care of the trooper, while the Lost are now both running into our reaction fire. Sadly though, both shots miss, but cleaning up here should really not be too difficult. Kill number 1 once again goes to our sharpshooter and her laser pistol, while Ranger Starfall moves in close to finish the job.
I definitely got that one.
At this point then, we can start crossing the street, get in some reloads to end our turn, and wait and see what the aliens and or Lost have up their sleeves on theirs.
Let's do this.
For now though, everything remains quiet, and we do want to get back up onto the high ground as quickly as possible, and it looks like the path is clear for now, so let's climb up. Schwaminian and Sapphire West meanwhile will stay on the ground to cover the ground floor just in case, although considering that there's only 3 of us, I don't really expect the map to be chock full of enemies, but still you never know where those few might be hiding. For the time being though, we are informed of another Lost swarm getting closer, so I would say it's high time to get upstairs, and even though I don't expect them to appear in the very same spot again, let's still keep an eye on the street here. After all, for a change we have no timer to compete with.
Overwatch.
I think I heard something.
As expected though, it appears as if they have spawned on the other side of the building, so let's make our way through it and towards another balcony that you can barely see in the shadows. In my experience, those are some of the best spots to cross from one building to the next.
We got movement.
The enemy turn then remains uneventful. Looks like there is still too much distance between us and the Lost, so let us once again make sure to block up all ladders to keep it that way.
What's over there?
And there we go, you just saw it, we definitely have some Lost in the alley between the 2 buildings here. Luckily though, we also have 2 balconies directly adjacent to each other above that, so we don't actually need to drop down to cross. Still, another balcony means another ladder that we quickly want to block.
Advent troops here!
And in doing so, we also reveal another Advent trooper, but I have to say, with a swarm of 5 Lost already active, I don't necessarily fancy their chances. Still, let's end our turn with another double Overwatch, and let's find out if Lost and Advent already come to blows.
On Overwatch.
Well, that doesn't appear to be the case, but it definitely looks like we have a large cluster of Lost right below us, so I'd say let's drop down with our specialist here and give Schwaminian some target practice.
Okay, so I got one.
And there we go, he finishes his rampage without any misses, and that leaves only 1 Lost and a single Advent trooper. Judging from its position though, the first seems to have gone looking for the latter, so I think we should be able to move off of 1 ladder here. Schwaminian will still block the other one though, just to make sure the Lost definitely can't reach him.
Moving to Overwatch.
Got it covered.
Sadly though, that lost never actually makes it over to us and instead gets killed by the trooper. At the very least though, this now gives us a clear idea of the trooper's whereabouts. And actually, as you can see here, the extraction zone also seems to be very close by. So time to keep moving, but not too far. After all, one more swarm is scheduled to appear soon.
Come get some.
Got some advent here.
For now though, we only run into another patrolling advent trooper. This should in all likelihood also be the last remaining enemy on the map, apart from that other trooper, who is now climbing up onto the high ground and straight into Starfall's reaction shot. Alright, looks like our ranger continues to dominate as we also have some loot drop down here. And finally another swarm of 5 lost also joins the party. Right then, once again this should be fairly manageable, so let us once again start off with lightning hands here. It's only a 50-50 shot, but it is totally free. Sadly though, this time we don't get lucky, so let's direct our frustration at the lost. However, as you can see, I actually made a crucial mistake with the second target here, as this one has 5 hit points, but Alyssa is only guaranteed to do 4 points of damage. And of course, it had to happen, she also only deals those 4. Definitely not at all the result I had wanted. Still, this is far from the small catastrophe it appears to be. After all, both Schwaminian and Starfall are able to get themselves into excellent shooting positions as well, so let's have our specialist continue what our sharpshooter started. Right, only 1 kill and then he starts to miss 2, that is definitely unfortunate. Still, no need to panic just yet, as you may have noticed, the trooper has actually stupidly hidden behind an explosive, and those are always guaranteed to be hit. Now this ends our turn, but fortunately the Lost don't actually have a way of getting up to us, so I would have to say that the loot timer is currently putting more pressure on us than they are, but even for that we have a solution, and it's called run and gun. Starfall picked up this ability with his last level up and we haven't actually used it yet, however it works just the same as it did in the first game, allowing our ranger to sprint to his destination and still have an action left afterwards. First of all though, he picks up 2 repeaters and an advent datapad, so that would be another source of intel acquired, very nice, and at this point he can now hopefully eliminate the 2 remaining Lost on the bridge. And there we go, that's them taken care of, and if we get lucky we can actually end the mission on this turn. All of that depends on whether or not Sapphire West can deal 5 points of damage this time around.
X-ray neutralized.
And it looks like she can, so I would say we are not going to wait for that next swarm to appear. The experience points we would get for killing them are really just a small drop in the ocean at this point, so let us instead evacuate our squad and be happy that we escaped with what is hopefully not going to be a major injury on Schwaminian. I guess we'll learn more about that once we're back on the Avenger.
Getting out of here.
All members of Wraith 1 have been successfully evac'd.
All in all though, I think this was another very smooth mission. That early miss from our sharpshooter definitely hurt us a bit in that first fight I think, but all in all, once again, I think we can be very happy with the result.
Our troops continue to exceed expectations while working with limited resources. Impressive, Commander.
Right, so no promotions, but Schwaminian will miss 10 days, that is likely going to be at least 1 mission. All in all though, I think the result here is very much respectable. In terms of loot then, we acquire the 2 aforementioned repeaters as well as the Advent datapad, with the latter then also once again unlocking the datapad decryption research. I think we already had that available for another datapad though. At this point then, all that is left to do is to make our return to the bridge, so that our covert action can officially be completed. We are also once again reminded that a supply drop is available, but that one won't go anywhere.
I'm glad to see our joint effort paid off like we hoped.
And yes indeed, our covert action is now officially completed, our 3 soldiers gain even more experience points, and Schwaminian's will also increases by 4, a good emergency protection against panic.
Soon enough, the Chosen will be trying to hide from us.
And there we are, 1 step closer to eliminating the assassin. Only 1 more covert action is needed, and then it's time to really start the hunt.
Keep this up, Commander, and we might just make you an honorary Reaper.
Our influence with the Reapers then also increases, unlocking another resistance order slot.
My people are up for some additional work if you've got any orders for us, Commander.
And we also unlock a new order to put into one of those slots, and it is a damn good one to say the least. Make no mistake about it, the ability to contact new regions instantly is insanely powerful, and I think we definitely want to add that to our set of orders as soon as we can. In the meantime though, it's time to assign a new covert action, and I already have a particular one in mind.
Our influence with the Resistance factions has motivated them to share some new information on the Chosen.
Now this here was actually suggested in the comments of one of the last episodes, and I think it's a very good idea. We are going with the Templar action here to recover some alien loot. The mission itself is not overly intriguing, but the reward here is, as we are able to receive a free promotion out of it. And that means we could advance one of our recently acquired lieutenants straight to a captain, something that would otherwise take us at least a handful of missions to achieve. Not to mention, and this is the main reason we're doing it, that having a captain in your ranks also unlocks the squad size 2 upgrade in the guerrilla tactics school. So as soon as this mission is done, we could finally field a full squad of 6 soldiers. And that is going to make life so much easier, so here's the squad we're going with for this one. For the lieutenant, we are picking Ranger Starfall Antag. He needs a break anyway, I think. We are also adding sharpshooter Bartosz Smoo-B, who, as far as I'm aware, has only been active on covert actions so far. And of course, we are also allocating the 25 intel to make sure no one gets captured.
My followers will lead this action to victory.
And there we go, time to return to the map, where we are currently in the process of making contact with East Africa. So let's finish doing that, as it unlocks a crucial mission for us.
Hunter is after something in this area.
And there we go, we have acquired yet another region, and our monthly income has been increased by 95 supplies. Most importantly though, we can now finally sabotage our first alien facility.
Commander, now that we've established contact with the local resistance, we've got the details we need to move on the aliens' facility. This is our chance to set back their work on the Avatar project.
Now, just like Bradford said, destroying this facility is a very efficient way of reducing the Avatar project bar. However, despite the fact that we could actually launch this sabotage mission right away now, I feel like there is a good reason to wait a few more days. And that reason is the fact that we have a monthly supply drop coming in very soon, during which we can then also assign new resistance orders. And there is one particular order that I think couldn't hurt our chances, and that is weak points, which would give us a little bit of extra armor shredding. After all, we can expect the Advent facility to be heavily protected. We might run into a few turrets or mechs, and so I think having this order active before launching the assault makes some sense. And that means we need to kill some time, and the best way to do that is by gathering supplies. After all, the squad size 2 upgrade won't come for free.
Avenger plotting new course.
Priority message coming through, Commander. Putting it on screen now.
Leading the Resistance is a daunting task, Commander. But your efforts so far have left many wondering if we have made the right approach. We will have to do better.
Okay, so the Council sounds rather disappointed with us this time around. I'm actually not quite sure why, after all we did the best we could, but I have to imagine that the continued progress of the Avatar project is giving them cause for concern.
I was good before, but this is something else entirely. I'm on a whole other level.
Right then, the Hunter now also gains the ability to summon stun lancers in combat. That could be annoying, but is definitely far from the worst trait to gain.
There are only so many places you can hide, Commander. And I'm running out of places to check.
One of the Chosen is getting closer to finding us, Commander. We should use every opportunity we have to take them out before that happens.
Alright, and it looks like we can expect another sabotage and a retribution from the 2 Chosen we have detected so far. The sabotage could be bad, depending on what it is, but again, this could be much worse. Finally then, we have our dark events, 2 of which we already know about from last time, and because I don't think that either one of them is an absolute must counter, let's also spend the intel here to reveal the hidden event, which turns out to be one that is actually fairly meaningless this early in the game, as it increases our enemy's defenses against being hacked and psionically attacked. And as you may have noticed, we haven't really attempted to do that a whole lot, so I think we should be able to live with this one becoming active too. That means for our next guerrilla ops, we will very likely be able to choose purely based on mission reward, which is definitely a very good situation to be in. For now then, let's assign resistance orders, the aforementioned weak points, as well as resistance network. Weak points would actually also be useful if we let that alloy padding dark event come to fruition, so I think, considering the alternatives, these two choices here are really no-brainers.
Consider it done, Commander.
And there we go then, our next supply drop has increased to 521 supplies, although I believe that still includes some leftovers from the last one. Either way, with our resistance orders now assigned, we are finally ready to strike back. That means, coming up next, we have our very first alien facilities sabotage mission, and I actually would have loved to include that in today's episode to give us just a tiny bit more action, but depending on how we tackle it, this could be a rather lengthy affair, and I definitely wanted to get the episode out before I go on holiday next week. So for today, I think this has to suffice. As you can see though, we also have another building spot waiting to be cleared soon, and if the experts among you already have some ideas on what we should build there, then feel free to leave them down below in the comments. Also, let me know who you think we should take with us on that sabotage mission. Do you think we should risk it and give someone entirely new some combat experience, or should we hold off on doing that until we can finally field 6 soldiers? As always, I would be very interested to hear what you think, but for today, let's make the cut right here. If you enjoyed the episode, then I would be very happy if you could leave a thumbs up, and if you like what I'm doing and want to support me and my channel further, then you can of course go ahead and subscribe to stay up to date, grab some merch over on shop.petecomplete.com, or check out and maybe even pledge to the Pete Complete Patreon. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.